Some people argue about politics or sports. Others start World War III over stolen fries. 1. The Great Ketchup Massacre. It all started in a diner somewhere in Ohio, where two men shared a booth, a basket of fries, and apparently zero emotional control. One reached for the ketchup bottle, the other claimed he had dibs. Words turned into shouting, shouting into shoving, and before anyone knew it, the police were mopping up what can only be described as the least dignified food fight in American history. Both men were arrested, charged with disorderly conduct, and banned from the diner for life. Imagine explaining to your grandkids that your criminal record came from condiment-related aggression. The best part? The fries were cold the entire time. A true tragedy in 3 acts: hunger, hubris, and Heinz. 2. The Wi-Fi War of Apartment 2B. Some feuds start with stolen mail. This one began with stolen bandwidth. In a quiet apartment complex, one man discovered his neighbor had named their Wi-Fi "Stop Stealing My Internet." So naturally, he renamed his own to Make Me. That digital smack talk escalated into hallway confrontations, router sabotage, and at one point, someone reportedly tried to change the password mid-argument while yelling, "I own the network." The police were called after one of them hurled a modem like a medieval weapon. No one was seriously hurt, but the property manager now insists all tenants use wired connections. Nothing like seeing technology turn grown adults into cavemen swinging plastic boxes of rage. 3. The Last Slice Incident. A family reunion in Texas was going perfectly fine until the sacred moment of pizza division. One man, let's call him Uncle Carl, took the final slice without asking. His cousin, who had been eyeing it for 20 minutes, called it a betrayal of biblical proportions. Shouting followed, then pushing, then an actual punch over pepperoni. Someone tried to mediate, only to get hit with a breadstick. When police arrived, the family told them it was just a misunderstanding. But the officer's report read, multiple parties involved in pizza-related altercation. Somewhere in an evidence locker, there's probably still a greasy paper plate marked as Exhibit A, proof that nothing divides a family faster than carbs and bad manners. 4. The lawnmower. Showdown suburban pride is a powerful drug. In one Florida neighborhood, 2 retired men waged a 3-month Cold War over who had the better lawn. It started when one accused the other of mowing too close to the property line. The next day, the rival retaliated by cutting a perfectly straight revenge stripe down the disputed border. Soon, both were waking up at 6 a.m. to mow before the other could. It escalated from passive-aggressive sprinklers aimed at each other's yards to one man blasting patriotic anthems every time he mowed, claiming it was for morale. The final straw came when one of them installed fake tombstones on the lawn with the other guy's name. Police finally intervened after a tractor duel blocked traffic. The HOA fined both for unsanctioned landscaping combat. The lawns are still immaculate, mostly because neither man will let the other's grass grow an inch higher. 5. The cheeseburger betrayal. 2 co-workers at a fast food joint in Nevada were sharing a late shift when one brought in a homemade cheeseburger. The other asked for a bite, was denied, and took it anyway when the first guy turned around. What followed was an argument so loud it drew in customers, and fries were weaponized. The victim called 911, reporting a theft of meat. The dispatcher thought it was a prank until both men started yelling into the phone. When police arrived, they found 2 grown adults covered in ketchup, shouting about principle. No one was arrested, but both were fired for aggressive cheeseburger behavior. To this day, local employees still refer to that shift as the patty war. 6. The Great Parking Lot Duel. A parking spot shouldn't be worth your dignity, but try telling that to 2 shoppers at a Target in Kansas. One claimed the space first by turning on his blinker, the other claimed it by pure speed and zero shame. When the faster driver slid in, the blinker man parked behind him, blocking him in like a vigilante hero of asphalt justice. The standoff lasted 45 minutes, complete with threats, phone calls, and one woman live-streaming the whole thing like it was pay-per-view. Eventually, both drivers were cited for disturbing the peace. The funniest part? The spot wasn't even close to the entrance. It was 20 feet from 3 open spaces. Humanity will wage war over kingdoms, borders, and apparently, proximity to shopping carts. 7. The Pool Noodle Rebellion. At a hotel in Arizona, 2 families were enjoying a sunny afternoon when a single pool noodle became the catalyst for chaos. One child grabbed a floating noodle that belonged to another family, and suddenly, both sides were reenacting a gladiator battle in chlorinated water. Parents jumped in, shouting legal claims over a $3 piece of foam. Lifeguards tried to intervene but got splashed into neutrality. Someone yelled, "We paid for this pool too!" the international war cry of vacation entitlement. Security arrived to find 6 adults soaked, 3 noodles torn in half, and a broken margarita glass floating like debris from a naval battle. The incident report listed it as dispute over shared recreation equipment. To this day, staff call it the Noodle War, and management quietly banned inflatable toys altogether. Congratulations, humanity. We can now add floating pool noodles to the list of things that spark international-level diplomacy failures. 8. The shopping cart incident. A quiet afternoon at a supermarket in Wisconsin turned into a full-contact sport when 2 women reached for the same shopping cart. One claimed she had seen it first. The other argued possession was 9/10 of the law. Instead of grabbing another, there were literally dozens. They started tugging like it was the final rose on reality TV. The fight escalated down aisle 3, knocking over cereal boxes and terrifying a poor teenager restocking soup. Eventually, the cart tipped, both fell, and one shouted, "You can have it, but you'll never have my dignity." Security broke it up before it became a headline. Ironically, neither woman finished shopping. Both left empty-handed, except for bruised pride and the immortal title of Cart Combatants of Aisle 3. 9. The wedding dance disaster. You'd think weddings were about love and joy, but in Oklahoma, one reception turned into a ballroom brawl over line dancing territory. 2 uncles, one devoted to the electric slide, the other a lifelong cha-cha slide purist, collided on the dance floor, each determined to lead. Guests tried to keep dancing, but chaos erupted when someone's cowboy boot flew into the cake table. Chairs toppled, grandma yelled, "This is not what Jesus wanted," and the DJ screamed into the mic, "Everyone chill, it's just a song." Police arrived after reports of a mass altercation involving rhythm. No charges were filed, but the marriage video went viral. The bride later admitted, "I should have known. Those men have been feuding since the Macarena." 10. The snow shovel standoff. In Pennsylvania, a mild snowfall somehow triggered an apocalyptic suburban meltdown. 2 neighbors, let's call them Bob and Gary, had an ongoing feud over whose responsibility it was to shovel the shared sidewalk. When the first flakes hit, both stared each other down from their driveways like Clint Eastwood and his slightly colder twin. Bob finally started shoveling, but stopped exactly halfway across the property line, leaving a wall of snow between them like a frosty, demilitarized zone. Gary retaliated by using his leaf blower to blast the snow back onto Bob's half. Within minutes, they were in a full-blown snow fight, throwing shovels of powder at each other while one of their wives filmed for evidence. The police arrived after Gary's wife uploaded the footage, which racked up 2 million views overnight. No one was arrested, but both were fined for reckless misuse of snow removal equipment. The following week, the city just hired a plow driver, because sometimes peace requires professional intervention and a bigger shovel. 11. The taco truck takedown. At a food festival in California, 2 competing taco vendors, El Primo and Taco Titan, set up side by side. It was all friendly until one noticed the other had a sign that read "Voted #1 tacos," despite no one remembering any such vote. Words were exchanged, then salsa was thrown. Customers initially thought it was performance art until a guacamole bowl went airborne. One man ducked just in time to avoid being baptized in pico de gallo. Security arrived to find both owners arguing about who owned the recipe for carne asada. The fight ended with one man's sombrero being confiscated as evidence. The local paper called it the Battle of the Burrito Line. Ironically, both trucks ran out of food that day, not from business, but from launching their ingredients like ammunition. And somehow, both got 5-star Yelp reviews for entertainment value alone. 12. The Great Office. Thermostat War. No corporate battlefield is bloodier than the one fought between people who run hot and those who run cold. In one Chicago office, things escalated when a woman taped the thermostat at 74 degrees, declaring it the comfort zone of civilization. A co-worker responded by secretly installing a Wi-Fi-controlled mini fan behind the vent to blow colder air. Soon, employees were sneaking to the wall like spies, adjusting the temperature every 15 minutes. Sticky notes appeared reading, "You're killing the plants," and "This isn't Florida." The breaking point came when HR discovered someone had brought a personal space heater that overloaded the circuit, cutting power to the whole floor. The company had to call a mediator, a literal HVAC specialist, to negotiate peace. The verdict, 71-degree Aspen, no exceptions. Both sides claimed victory, though everyone still quietly complains. 13. The Game Night Massacre. Game nights are supposed to bring families together. Instead, in one Ohio household, Monopoly brought a 20-year marriage to the brink of collapse. It started innocently enough, friendly competition, snacks, and laughter. But when one husband refused to sell Boardwalk to his wife, the tension hit Wall Street levels. Accusations of cheating flew faster than dice rolls. Someone flipped the board, sending fake money fluttering like confetti at a rage parade. Their teenage son called it the most violent economic downturn since 1929. Neighbors called the cops after hearing shouting that included the phrase, "I hope you choke on your railroads." When officers arrived, they found the couple sitting in silence, both staring at the toppled game pieces like war survivors. No charges, but one officer reportedly muttered, "This is why I play Uno." The family now sticks to Jenga. Less capitalism, fewer casualties. 14. The Coffee Cup Clash. It all began at a small cafe in Oregon where a man accidentally grabbed the wrong to-go cup. Simple mistake, right? Not when caffeine-deprived adults are involved. The rightful owner of the cup noticed someone walking off with her latte and screamed, "That's my almond milk," as if he were stealing a child. The man, startled, dropped the drink, splashing coffee across 3 innocent bystanders, including a barista who yelled, "Not again!" What followed looked like an espresso-themed soap opera. The woman demanded he pay for emotional damages and spilled milk trauma. The cafe refunded both, but she still left a 1-star review titled "Coffee Theft in Broad Daylight." The man tried to apologize later by buying her a new drink, but she refused, saying, "I don't accept beverages from criminals." The staff now label every cup with names in giant black letters, just in case someone else tries to commit another act of caffeine larceny. 15. The Mall Santa Melee. During one December weekend in Minnesota, 2 dads got into a shouting match over whose kid got to sit on Santa's lap first. One accused the other of cutting the line, while Santa sat silently, perhaps reconsidering his entire career choice. Security tried to mediate, but by then, the dads had escalated to full Christmas combat mode. One yelled, "You're on the naughty list, pal," right before someone knocked over a decorative reindeer. The mall choir kept singing Silent Night, which only made the chaos funnier. Eventually, police showed up, and the report actually read verbal and physical altercation in proximity to Santa Claus. The best part? Both families were banned from Santa's photo area for the season. The kids never got their pictures, but at least they learned an important holiday lesson. Adults are the worst part of Christmas. 16. The Grocery Store Grapes Incident. At a supermarket in Texas, a woman was caught taste-testing grapes straight from the display. When an employee politely asked her to stop, she declared it was standard quality control. Another shopper chimed in, saying she had every right to sample before committing. Soon, half the produce aisle joined the debate, forming 2 rival factions, the tasters versus the rule followers. The argument grew so heated that the store manager had to step in and explain that grapes are not a free sample buffet. Someone filmed the entire thing, and the video went viral under the title, "Grape Expectations." The woman left without buying anything but told reporters she was fighting for consumer freedom. Ironically, the store later introduced an actual sampling table to avoid future grape uprisings. The rest of the staff now refer to the event as the Fruit Civil War. 17. The Elevator Showdown. In a New York office building, an argument over elevator etiquette turned into a 10-story standoff. A man pressed door close while a woman was still walking in, prompting her to accuse him of being a button tyrant. He defended himself, saying he was optimizing efficiency. The ride that followed was pure psychological warfare: silence, glaring, and passive-aggressive sighs. At floor 5, someone sarcastically asked if anyone wanted to file an elevator grievance. By floor 8, another passenger was live tweeting the tension like it was reality TV. When the doors opened, neither wanted to exit first, both insisting it would be an admission of guilt. Security had to escort them out after the system jammed from repeated button mashing. Maintenance later put up a sign reading, "Please treat the buttons and each other with respect." No one has looked anyone in the eye in that elevator since. 18. The ice cream truck incident. In a quiet Los Angeles suburb, summer peace shattered when two parents fought over whose kid was first in line at the ice cream truck. It started with innocent muttering, "We were here first," and escalated when one mom slapped a $5 bill directly onto the driver's window, blocking the other's cash like a poker move. The driver tried to calm things down, but the crowd began cheering like it was a heavyweight match. The argument climaxed when one parent dramatically shouted, "This is about justice, not popsicles," before throwing a snow cone onto the pavement. The police were eventually called, not because of violence, but because traffic had backed up behind the truck for 20 minutes. The driver later said he'd seen riots over Choco Tacos, but never like this. The following week, he changed his route, claiming he needed a break from the frozen chaos. Somewhere in that neighborhood, the faint jingle of the ice cream truck still gives parents PTSD. 19. The gym treadmill war. At a 24-hour gym in Colorado, two regulars developed a silent rivalry over the same treadmill, the one with the best fan and view of the TVs. For weeks, they raced to arrive earlier, leaving passive-aggressive towels on the machine as reservations. One night, both arrived at the same time, sprinting toward it like Olympic contenders. They collided mid-run, sending one man tumbling into a rack of yoga mats. The manager intervened as both accused the other of fitness sabotage. Surveillance footage of the scuffle became an internal staff meme titled "Cardio Carnage." The gym eventually installed identical fans on every treadmill to avoid further territorial disputes. Ironically, neither rival returned, the ultimate proof that sometimes pride burns more calories than exercise. 20. The Library Whisper War. In a small-town library in Vermont, two retirees turned a quiet reading room into a Cold War bunker. One insisted everyone was too loud, even though the decibel level hovered around polite breathing. The other, tired of constant shushing, began deliberately coughing every time his rival opened a book. Soon, they were locked in passive-aggressive combat, shush versus cough, silence versus defiance. The librarian tried separating them, but each just migrated to the other's aisle like determined chess pieces. Things peaked when one placed a sticky note inside a novel reading. "If you're reading this, stop breathing so loud." The final straw came when they both reached for the same copy of Moby Dick and refused to let go. The police weren't called, but both were suspended from the library for a week. Locals still not refer to it as the quietest fight in history. 21. The drive-thru meltdown. At a McDonald's in Kentucky, a customer ordered a McFlurry only to find out the machine was, shockingly, broken. Instead of sighing like the rest of us, he went full courtroom drama. He demanded to see corporate proof that the machine was indeed broken and asked the cashier to swear under oath. When the manager came to calm things down, the man recorded the exchange and began narrating like a documentary. This is what oppression looks like. He eventually climbed halfway through the window before realizing he'd gotten stuck. Police arrived to find him dangling, furious, and still demanding ice cream justice. The report listed it as disorderly conduct and poor decision-making. The next day, someone left a note on the drive-thru speaker. "Let's all heal. Get the machine fixed." The manager laminated it as a reminder that peace and soft serve come only with patience. 22. The concert chair combat. At an outdoor music festival in Texas, two middle-aged men fought over a folding chair like it was a throne of destiny. One claimed the spot had shade priority, while the other said, "First butt down, first rights." The argument lasted through 3 opening acts and only escalated when one man moved the chair 5 inches into sunlight out of spite. The crowd started chanting, "Fight! Fight!" as security rushed in, ironically, during a song about peace and unity. When the band stopped playing, one fighter yelled, "He disrespected the chair code." It became local legend. The next year, the festival added a new rule: no personal chairs past the main gate, because apparently humanity can't handle folding furniture responsibly. 23. The airport armrest war. On a red-eye flight from Chicago to Seattle, two strangers entered a psychological battle over the middle armrest. It began as a silent tug-of-war, one elbow slightly edging forward, the other countering with millimeter precision. Then came the accidental nudges, the fake stretches, and the subtle dominance displays. Passengers nearby whispered bets on who'd win. After 3 hours of quiet conflict, The woman in the window seat snapped and said, "You both can have it," before dropping her drink in the middle. The soda splashed both combatants equally, creating an unexpected truce. They shared napkins, laughed awkwardly, and finally dozed off, forearms respectfully neutral. The flight attendant later called it the most peaceful surrender in aviation history. The lesson? In the sky, there are no winners, just elbows pretending they own territory in a shared armrest democracy. Humans will fight over anything, from ketchup to armrests. Which one wins the gold medal for stupidity? You decide.